and welcome to episode 15 of Great Scott Marcus. I'm Scott, and that one's Mark, here on Ramble Entertainment on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Mark, what's going on?
Oh, it's going, man. I just made myself a delicious breakfast, and that's why I had to delay about 10 minutes. I had a sink full of dishes. I'm like, the water's going to get cold by the time I'm done with this, so...
I love it when people ask for specific fucking times and they can't even show up on time.
I said 10 minutes, so it's you got a little leeway there.
So I'm a very prompt person, and I get when people aren't prompt, but like when you ask for the time, you should be prompt as fuck, 5 minutes early. Like,
I know.
That's why I made those eyes at your text. I was just like, ugh.
It's kind of funny. Is like when you say like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. It's always, I feel like it has a given 1 to 3 minute leeway type thing. Whereas like if you're like, I'll be there in 7 minutes, you're like, he will be here in 7 minutes.
It's not that you said like 10 minutes. It's the fact that you said can we record at noon, and then it's noon and you're not fucking here already. Like,
I had to finish. You
didn't. You didn't. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you're a bitch. That's all that really comes down to. Are you gonna ask me how I'm doing?
How are you doing, sir?
Okay. The pain's gotten to the point as of late where I'm going to see the doctor this week and see if something more should be done about it. With my left leg, I don't know if you or I ever mentioned this on a recording, I didn't complete the physical therapy because I was like 3 sessions in, and then the hospital or clinic where I have the physical therapy finally noticed that I wasn't covered through my insurance. And it's just like so I had 2 more appointments with the guy I had like years of physical therapy with, and I had to switch insurance because of reasons. But still, just like the fact that it took them that long to notice was just like, Jesus Christ. So maybe I might have to go back to physical therapy for this. Maybe the heat needs to pass. Maybe this time I'll get a steroid or something for it, a shot maybe. I don't know. But
I think you should try giving that a whirl. My mom gets them in her neck, and it's like every 6 months.
I'm not against it. My doctor was against it. He wanted me to go to therapy, so I did. And it's not that I was against therapy.
Right.
And I'm not against the shots either. I've had cortisol and cortisone, and both, I think, at the same time. And you can't have those at the same time, BT dubs, I don't think.
Oh, really? I did not.
I'm fairly certain. I'm not a doctor. See your doctors, kids. You're not a fucking doctor. You. So I don't know. That's about it. Unfortunately, the pain's kind of been controlling things lately, forcing me to go to bed early when I wanted to get other things done, etc., etc. So, enough bitching. Let's get to the topics.
I need to compliment your stripes, by the way. Good call.
To anybody who wonders about us, this wasn't planned. No. We don't finger each other in the asshole.
We used to. It's fine.
You were supposed to block that out.
Sorry. I've got a shitty memory, but certain things just kind of stick. No, like I had I wasn't even wearing a shirt. Like I haven't showered today. This shirt was hanging on the back of this chair. I'm like, well, I've got to put a shirt on, and here we are.
Yeah, this one's at least a day or two old. I typically don't rotate my stuff out too often because I don't really do much too often. So, honesty. So yeah, the Olympics. These rambles are actually mostly yours, so you're gonna kind of be leading us on this journey.
Yeah, I like journeys.
Oh, yeah, so I do want to get more in the habit of, at least between the first ramble and the first topic, doing a proper intro. I did the kind of like regular intro, but on Great Scott Marcus, what we typically do is we have 2 rambles and then 2 topics, or a ramble part 1 and a ramble part 2 and a topic part 1 and topic part 2. We have several different ramble topics that we just kind of talk through. We don't go too in depth. Then we have a hype train where we talk about what we're excited for within the coming week or month or whatever. And then we get into a main topic that's broken into 2 parts that we really go into depth for. Your hair is kind of wicked today.
Yeah, well, I haven't showered.
So yeah, I want to get more in the habit of kind of doing that, kind of how things work on our show. So
Yes.
anyway, Mark, the Olympics.
Anyways.
Go!
Yeah,
Ow!
These rambles, I pretty much just spit them out, and you're like, hey, you have any ideas? I'm like, well, here are some things that I see going on nowadays.
I mean,
or
that's
actually
typically
currently.
how
And
it works for
the Olympics
me.
is one of them, and Team USA seems to be doing well with the medal count, and Michael Phelps is basically Poseidon's godson, apparently, because he just can't be beaten in the water.
He was beaten.
I
watched. I think a French or an Australian guy beat him while I was at Planet Fitness.
I haven't watched too much of it, though, to be honest with you. I've seen a few events here and there, but it's just kind of funny because I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was 4 years ago, or maybe 8 years ago, I was glued to the TV, man. I was watching everything. I was watching, swimming, volleyball, gymnastics, any of the races. I was like all about it. But this year, I don't know. It's lost its allure, and I don't know why. I think maybe because also in previous years I hadn't been nearly as addicted to baseball as I am now, so that's taken up all the time. And
You
also I didn't have
probably
a 9 to 5
get
job.
a lot of your baseball also more on demand too. Like you probably get stats and maybe even some recaps on demand.
Yeah, I've got apps that I read up on them pretty much daily, and the time of baseball is always conducive to my schedule. Usually it's at 7:00 in the evening when I get home from work.
Losing you a bit.
Yeah, I saw that. It's storming here, so we might have a few surges here and there like that.
Then we'll work with what we got. I also feel the same way. I've never been hugely into the Olympics either as far as sporting events go, but I do feel the lack of on-demand might hurt it. I've basically walked into Planet Fitness and watched it while it's on TV, and it's exhilarating to see.
Yeah, it is.
Which is kind of weird because I didn't really have that perspective in my younger years, where it was just kind of like cool people doing sports. But now it's actually really exhilarating for some reason.
It's like a pride thing, I think, when you see other people like really doing everything for their country. I don't
care. I don't care about the
USA,
country perspective.
but...
In fact, I feel like we could really turn it down and let another country get a fucking gold medal.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind that. It's like Jesus Christ, we win so many, but you see like some smaller countries, just like winning awards, like the emotion on their faces is it's exhilarating. You're right. And it's just like wow,
I feel like it's more
awesome.
a personal pride in personal accomplishment.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
I mean, very cool if you have that patriotic sense. I am still quite an American person, when I kind of look at the perspective of our politics and our industry and our information gathering and the things we do, but not as American as others, not as patriotic. But...
Not like America.
Yeah!
Guns and 4x4s.
Like exceptional Americanism and all that.
Yeah.
I think other countries are awesome too. But yeah, the Olympics is thrilling. Those women's volleyball swimsuits, my God. Yeah. So again, I stepped into Planet Fitness and I got on the elliptical. I haven't been able to go as often as I want as of late because of the left leg pain. And again, part of that might be the heat we're stuck in right now and all the different pressure systems fluctuating because of storms. But yeah, I make it to Planet Fitness still here and there, and I was on the elliptical, and there's I think I counted the one time 16 TVs. And so I typically, bounce back and forth between a couple. But, man, I don't remember those women's volleyball swimsuits being so enjoyable.
See, I the one match I watched of women's volleyball was like the Americans were in like bodysuits, and I was like,
Oh,
what?
yeah, I
think
caught
those are weird.
Yeah, I caught like a clip of like a recap of like
Mm-hmm.
we're winning medals, and I saw that too, and I was like, that's not as nice. But
revealing.
yeah, like it's just like, are we here for a sport or what's going on? It was very attractive, and that was surprising, I guess. You know,
Well,
when I
imagine,
think of
you know,
when I think of women's volleyball, I think of a pretty competitive sport. I don't think of like attractive babes.
well, it's beach volleyball too. I think
Yeah.
is slightly different than gym volleyball in terms of what they wear. I mean, gym volleyball is usually shorts and some sort of spandex, everything. We have the beach volleyball. It's very beach oriented. I think that's just part of the culture that always went along with it. So I think when it comes to their official uniforms, maybe they're like, well, it's part of beach volleyball tradition. Wear swimsuits or something that looks a lot like it.
And to be fair to the other side of attraction, Michael Phelps and other swim dudes with that
their
V
Speedos.
thing, like going down, like, hey, I have a cock down here, like pointing
Look at
straight into their freaking shorts. Is just like, well, that's I guess attractive to people too. I don't get into that. Granted, if I had that, I'd be like, nice.
Oh yeah, I'd cut off the bottoms of all my shirts.
I'd cut off the bottoms of all my pants.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be wearing shorts, I guess. Outside of that, like I like there is something that has me wanting to watch more of the competitions, but at the same time, this lack of on demand that our society is leaning towards is definitely taking away from that. In fact, I'm kind of in a dearth of not knowing what I want to watch. So, and if I could just pop the Olympics on while I'm tooling with videos or Warframe stuff or job applications, that would have been perfect. But we really can't, except for
maybe we'll
like,
see
recaps.
in the next 4 years. I mean, I know I've mentioned this before in the show. Twitter is making deals left and right with certain sporting events, NFL, NBA, and maybe in the next Olympics they'll
I feel
be
like
broadcasting the Olympics.
I feel like Google would be the more likely choice. YouTube, it just
yeah.
it has the infrastructure,
Right.
I
It's got
think
the infrastructure, but like Twitter's very like they're the reason why the NFL, NBA do it is because it's like here now, it's live kind of thing, and YouTube. Obviously, you can have live YouTube.
YouTube does tons of live content.
Yeah, but I think it's just
YouTube is far more popular than Twitter.
I get that.
Okay.
But there's reasons why the NFL wasn't like, hey, let's go to Google. Because I think
I don't know about that. Like what reason would there actually be?
It's because it.
Shut up! People who are robbing or dying or
Lord.
on fire.
It's like right down my street too. That never happens down here. It's from what I read, basically, NFL commissioner is saying that Twitter's just general. What the word is. It's live. It's now. You follow a lot of like sports writers and like hashtags and trends. That occur happening. When we're watching a football game, you get like live trends. Like let's say if the Cowboys do something amazing, or Tony Romo, that always pops up as a trend on Twitter. Which Facebook's got similar things, but it's more algorithmic. Where Twitter is.
I'm checking just to make sure.
It's very like live now kind of thing.
Okay.
YouTube doesn't really have the kind of trending type stuff.
I think they're starting to lean towards that, possibly because they're seeing some things get away from them. Sure. Twitch is more live, but that's about gaming, and obviously, that is that culture, and you don't go for to Twitch to be like sports ball. I think that's good reasoning. I think that's really good reasoning.
Yeah, so I think that'll be interesting though in the next 4 years and see if that happens. Get that on demand. Which medium it's on, who knows? But it'll be cool if it happens.
I think multiple doesn't hurt either.
No, not at all.
Shut up, people who are dying, robbing, or on fire. God,
there are never sirens going down my street, so that's really bizarre. I live in the inner city.
Yeah, like Digital Extremes for their bi-weekly dev stream where they kind of catch up on what they're doing, what they're thinking with the game, and what the community might be thinking. They've actually moved to double format, Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So we'll see. Yeah. That's enough about the fucking Olympics, Scott. So, lifestyle improvements. Again, another one that you kind of brought up that I kind of modified. You brought up applications. Yeah. And I'm just thinking improvements in general.
Well, the reason why I mentioned the applications is I ended up purchasing you're dusting everything off.
Well, I mean, like that. I feel like that's actually been an improvement because I have it right there next to me. We were. Well, it wasn't in the recording because I didn't capture my audio. Just like, oh man, there's some dust here. I'm just gonna clean up my space real quick because technology has improved, and I don't need to spend a couple minutes going together dust rags, and then I
don't have my dust rag, but something like this is just a little more archaic than what the apparatus you're using.
Well, that's a what's that called? An anti-static cloth or
like microfiber.
Microfiber, that's it.
It works really well.
Please continue.
So over the past probably month or two, I think I've mentioned before, started exercising and trying to stick with that. And more recently, I tried to start meditating, which is an interesting practice. Why I started to do it? Because I just started reading a lot about this daily Zen blog, and reading like, hey, you know what? Might as well give it a shot. And I'm starting to do these things, and it's like, man, it's kind of hard to keep track of. And so I ended up buying a couple apps, for working out and for meditating and stuff that kind of keeps track of it and has timers. And I spent like $5 on an app and another $2 on another one, another like $3 on another one. It's just like that can really kind of help you stay focused and trying to really reach these goals when you're improving certain parts of your life like that. Because it's just like, well, I just spent $5 on an app. Don't want that to go to waste.
I'm feeling a pressure in this eye that I want to make improvements in my life for. I'll do that in between our
gonna pop out?
Ramble recordings. No, you've never felt that like a little bit of a like pressure on your eyelid or something that you're just like, what's going on? You rub it or maybe you put.
Usually it's eyelashes that cause it for me.
So I'll just use some eye drops. Yeah. It might be the lighting. Anyway. I've been trying to do a lot more stretching because so I've been in with this pain that's mostly been in my right leg for the past almost 4 years now, come basically the end of October or November-ish, you go to physical therapy. Like, I think a lot of us, I think a lot of people will be to physical therapy for one thing or another at some point in their life. And you'll be told you should do these stretches, twice a day, every day. And it's just like, okay. And you do like one set a week. And finally, after, 3 or 4 years of this, it's like, no, you actually should be doing this. Some people can skip them because you're active enough and you're doing well enough, and it's like your recovery went fine. But for someone like me, no, so like doing the stretches and remembering some of the Tai Chi I learned from my brief stint in pain management to help just relieve some of these pains while I wait to see my doctor about this bursitis issue. Hopefully it's still a bursitis issue. But yeah, I've also just been trying to, I mean, like, this is kind of one of those topics where it's just like, you want to think that everybody is constantly trying to improve their life. But in reality, like, people aren't. And so it's
you see that every day too.
So it's just like this is really about a lot about just some kind of like everyday things. So it's like I'm trying to the hard thing as of late with all this pain has been really getting on the job train, because I wish I had started the job applications train ahead of this. Not that I could have known that this would happen, because then it wouldn't be so stressful to look at those first applications and trying to get them right and get in the habit of doing the right things and applying, as opposed to, all right, well, now I have to start, instead of being like, I'm already in this, so I know what I'm doing, I just keep doing it. That's been... I'm trying to get started, basically, but it's tough because stress is just a pain. Ha! It's a pain. It's a pain to the pain. It just adds to it, and so outside of like cleaning, I'm just trying to be more active. So like, perfect example. I've still been a bit lazy about editing our videos that we just did last week. Yeah. The final one, part 4, topic part 2, will be going up today or tomorrow. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm adapting to that instead of being in this mentality of struggling with the editing or forgetting that, okay, that video just got done processing, next step, instead of just continuing what I'm in the middle of. I'm going to basically edit 4 videos at a time. So like all 4 segments of each episode of Great Scott Marcus, step 1 will be complete at the same time. Step 2 for all 4 segments will be complete at the same time. And then step 3 at the same time. And then they'll all go up. Not at the same time, they'll all get broken out across days, right. But this will make it more of a 2-day process as opposed to a 2-day process per video, where it's easy to miss that ding that the computer finished processing the video and converting it to its proper format. So I don't know. I don't really have any apps that I really want to apply to this. Like I always tried to keep a calendar, but I never could. Like, it never did shit for me.
That's what I mean. I have my calendar on my phone, and I use it for random things. But as far as like these like lifestyle improvements, I've got apps for doing I've got an app for doing pull-ups, one for meditating, one that keeps track of like my sleep cycles. And it's what's kind of interesting is after you have a few things logged, is looking at those trends and saying, oh wow, like I don't sleep for shit on Saturdays, or it's like every weekend I'm not exercising or I'm not meditating, and then I think it's just like when you see it in front of you, it's kind of like a nice reminder that, hey, like I should do this today, do that today,
and that's definitely one of those differences between people, because like I can have it right fucking in front of me and I'll just be like, whatever, because instead my mind is prioritizing what I'm thinking about as opposed to what I'm seeing.
Well, it's hard too. I mean, I think that's what kind of the catch-22 about all of it is if it's in front of you or not, it's just a matter of like putting aside that time. And let's say if you are doing 0 lifestyle improvements, whatever it could be, then what?
Nothing. Keep going.
No, anyways, what
I'm doing 0 lifestyle improvements.
No, like hypothetically, let's say if you're not doing anything, and then you're like, oh, I should start meditating, and like, oh, it's just 5 minutes a day, just 10 minutes a day. It's all you need, 10 minutes a day. And then you want to exercise, like, oh, that's just 10 minutes a day. You can afford 10 minutes a day.
You sound like one of those people on TV.
Exactly. That's how this is. And then by the time you're done with things and you got like X amount of things you want to do to yourself on a daily or weekly basis, you're out by like like 2 hours. And you're just like, holy hell, where'd all that time go? But I mean, it's it takes discipline, I suppose. I mean, it's not like I can keep doing these things every day. It's tough, but it's something that pick something, do it, and be like, hey, that's a good way to improve something on myself.
And a lot of it does unfortunately depend on the way one lives. If I could be in the gym daily, I would, or near daily, bi-daily.
Sure.
But I can't. I can't at this point. The left leg is just too out of sorts as of late, which is why I'm seeing a doctor. But yeah, that's really a lot of what that comes down to. And yeah, just generally try.
Yeah.
So,
like what Nike says, just do it.
I wanted to say like what Yoda says, but he actually says no, try.
Try.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the thing. You just gotta do it. There's no trying. Who did that weird thing? Shia LaBeouf. He's like, just do it.
I don't remember that.
Oh my god, you gotta watch that video. It's hilarious. He does it from a green screen, like on purpose, so people make a meme out of it.
Oh, I find that hard to agree with because I'm just at a point where I can't just do it, and again, this will come up a lot in the topic that we've got coming up here. But I used to be in that mindset where it's just like, just get out there and do it. And now I understand, because I live this, that actually isn't the case for a shit ton of people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm in the similar boat with certain circumstances, too. So it's just, I guess in my thing, it was, I started running, and then I ended up injuring myself, and then I realized, like, running was, a huge pain in the ass to me. Like, I wanted to start doing it because, I remember running back in the day, in high school, and it was just kind of like mentally freeing. But like, as I was running, it's like I had to keep track of infinite number of things. It's like I had to always, pull back my left leg, but like relax my right side, and then like keep my arms moving. And it was just constantly in my head all the time. It was more work than I got out of it. So then, and sadly, a year went by. I really didn't do much physical exercise, and then I was like, you know what? Let's try this bike, and that's all the cardio I need at this point. So it was just, I'm doing it. It's just a slightly different way of getting it done.
Good. Yeah. I love bikes. I wish I could get on a bike right now, but unfortunately, the seating isn't very friendly to me. Anyway, we'll be back in the second half of the ramble coming up here. So, Mark, was there anything else you wanted to say before we close out this ramble?
Maybe next week we should record on our bikes.
Ha! I don't have a bike to record on.
Fuck.
All right. See you in the next half, guys.